And then for those that have just joined, if you are a delegate from a GSA council, please raise your hand and we will make you a panelist. Okay. While we are getting started, please go ahead and if you refer to the last page of the agenda, page 3, there will be an attendance sheet. Go ahead and click and open that. And I believe I'm sharing my screen as an example here. You should be able to see this.
Because they can see that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so then let's do this. Yeah, so here you'll be able to type your name as a nominated delegate. Your signature is just going to be like your email, your UCLA email. So we'll go ahead and get that started in the next couple minutes. And once we have quorum, we'll go ahead and proceed. For those that may have just joined the meeting, please raise your hand if you are a GSA Council delegate, and we will promote you to panelist. All right. Great. I'll get started. Okay. All right. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I hope that week 1 is treating you likewise very well. My name is Jay Vidal. I am the GSA Vice President of Internal Affairs, and I will be the chair of the GSA Forum meetings. It's a pleasure to meet all of you in person, and for those of you on Zoom, it's also a pleasure to see you participating as well, and I look forward to the opportunity to meet you all in person at some point. We're going to go ahead and get started. So we will just follow through proceedings. Now that we have quorum, we can go through the various points of our agenda that you'll see on page 2. So we will move on to section 2, which is, oh yes. We'll move on to section 2, which is approval of the agenda. As I've sent out the agenda to all the delegates over email. So here, this is, we'll just take a vote. Those in favor of approving or
Need a motion? Yes.
I see. Okay, so we will need a motion to approve the agenda, and that can be made by anyone in any delegate. Okay, thank you. And then we need a second. Second? Okay, great. So then now that we have the motion and the second, we will vote to approve the agenda. Those in favor, please raise your hands.
And on Zoom as well.
And on Zoom as well, please raise your hand. Okay. It's like on Zoom. Okay. Yeah, please lower your hands.
Anybody against?
Yeah. Those against the approval, please raise your hand. Okay, lower your hands, please.
And all abstaining.
Yeah, and then those that are abstaining from the vote, please raise your hand.
And lower your hands.
Okay, thank you. Lower your hands.
That's approved.
All right, the agenda is approved. We will move on to the approval of minutes. I don't think we have any minutes to approve, though.
No.
Yeah. Okay, we do not have minutes from spring quarter of the previous academic year, week 9 meeting. So we will just go ahead and move on to the next section, which is public comment from GSA membership. So we will open the floor to those that would like to make public comment. If there are no general membership that would like to make a comment, we can move on to the next section. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next section, which is funding. And I will
just pass it to me.
Okay, yeah, I'll pass that along to Naomi Hammonds.
Sorry, we making this work, y'all. Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Naomi Hammonds. I'll serve as your president for this year for the Graduate Student Association. Funding will be something of discussion, especially I know it's come up for a lot of our semester school system and folks that have been here over the summer. So we have a discretionary fund that will be opening soon. We're just finalizing the guidelines and the application. So that will be something that you all can apply to, and any other clubs and other organizations can apply to as well that are serving graduate students. And so this was something that I would like y'all to represent to present to your respective constituents, especially clubs that are in Anderson and different schools as well. So we are just finalizing those, and we aim to have that by our next forum for y'all to vote and approve on the guidelines and the application so that I can open for students. Okay, so more to come on that for funding, and just wanted to let you all know. Okay, we're working on it.
Thank you, Naomi. All right, so we will now go ahead and move on to our special presentations. So we will go ahead and start with Josh Shaw presenting some updates on the requisition process. And then I can run the slides for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Josh. I'm the accountant for student government accounting here at ASUCLA. I've had the pleasure of working with Naomi for multiple terms across both entities. Our job is basically, let me wait for the slideshow.
Oh, here we go.
All right. Or Kirkhoff, we'll help you find it. It's a little hard to find. Please. So like I was saying, we oversee the accounting for all of the student government offices, elected offices appointed, as well as the funding for all of the clubs and organizations under both entities that are registered through SOL. So all of the fees that you all pay at the beginning of every quarter we are the custodians of those fees. Manage the discretionary fund and all the allocations for your councils, and have 4 different types of reg forms and 2 different types of one of them. So we'll go through the most popular, our cash advances and reimbursements. Reimbursements are the most common.
Oh, sorry.
Honoraria are payments that are paid to independent content speakers, things of that nature at any event. Purchase orders are assurances of payment. We'll get to that later. Cash advances in lieu of reimbursement if you have a larger expense you are not able or would not like to come out of pocket for. That is also an option for you. Next slide, please. So with each type of requisition form, there are different requirements for submission. We will issue you a 21-digit account code. We'll get to what that looks like later. That will be unique to your funding for whatever event is allocated. So for requisitions, cash advances, you will need, all of them require your account code and your green card. The backup documentation that you will upload with your submission. Cash advances would be an estimate or quote from whatever vendor or some type of listing from a vendor or multiple vendors that you'll be using those funds for. It's not specific to those things. It just has to be the same type of, if it ends up changing over time or by the time. Honoraria, we do require a W-9 for each contractor. Each person that's to be paid requires a separate submission. So if you have an international contractor, we do also have the W-8 ban option for the exemption from tax withholding so that we don't have to issue them a 1099 at the end of the year. And also a signed contract agreement. Those, I believe, are also available on the GSA ASUCLA website. Purchase orders, we do require, for a purchase order, we require an estimate with a reference number from the vendor. If you have an invoice, we would, you do not need a purchase order unless the vendor requires it prior to the event. In lieu of that, if you lose it, if the vendor is unable to provide that for you, you would provide a copy of your bank statement with all of any other personal information redacted. So just the information visible that we need to see. That's very important, please. Next slide, please. Okay.
Maybe click on it. to
So
see
what
if
this is intended to be was a.
There's okay.
I can walk through the process with you. Basically, a workflow of to a check. So you would initially go to the GSA website. Again, at the requisition forms page, you will see different buttons for the different types that you saw listed before. It'll take you to a form, a web-based form that allow you to populate the fields with the information that they provided in the application. We receive that. You will receive it back if there are no issues with you'll receive email notification that it's approved and forwarded on for further processing. The appropriate officer for signatory approval. We'll get to that slide later. Also, everything this year will be happening via DocuSign. So we're kind of trying to eliminate as much paper and third party and looping in and back and forth for signatures. So that will happen. You'll get notification of that, even though you don't receive the document directly. Excuse me. Once it comes back from those signatories, we will then process it. It takes 7 to 10 business days for a check to be produced once we receive the signed and approved copy back. So the onus is on the signatories, the direct signatories, which would be either. Sorry, thank you. Next slide, please. All right, here we go. So these are detailed explanations. So for cash advances, payees are expected to reconcile, which means bring in or submit receipts on the website, which is now an option as well. Also important note, only the person who has requested the cash advance that the check is payable to may pick up the advance and reconcile the advance. Just one single individual. Let's see, if you spend more, if your club is willing and you have funding available, you can submit an appended request to that requisition in order to be reimbursed that overage. If you underspend with your advance, we do require that you come into the office to reconcile by writing a check or money order to SGA GSA, and we will reimburse those funds to the purchase orders. This has gotten complicated. It's really actually not so complicated. So I'm going to try to explain it as simply as I can. We issue an assurance of payment to a vendor who's willing to accept a purchase order from us. We lien those funds from your account, or again, we lien against your account for the amount of those funds. And when we receive a final invoice from the vendor, we will disperse payment within that 7 to 10 day window. Like I said before, if you have an invoice, we will pay directly immediately. It probably would still take the same amount of time. We ask that you submit any purchase order requests at least 2 weeks in advance, as well as cash advances. If it's contingent, if your event is contingent on payment or a promise to pay. We're only able to process up to the amount of purchase orders issued for. Any additional requests for payment from that vendor would require an additional requisition. So for reimbursements, we have different types of submissions over the course of the year. Some of you may or may not use one or all of them. We do require a list of attendees, or recipients, rather, mileage, a screenshot of your gas, expensive gas receipts. If you're doing rentals, we will reimburse gas. Our general policy is to reimburse at the standard IRS reimbursable mileage rate for any given period. We do also ask that you submit a copy of a need an agenda, list of attendees, statement of purpose, and then all council submissions. So any one of the academic councils, if you have a submission, every single submission needs to come along and be submitted with a copy of your minutes, that reflect your council's approval of that expense, which means that the amount also must be reflected in that report. restrictions are pretty much self-explanatory, straightforward. You are, as GSA, you are allowed to purchase alcohol or any other illegal substances, tobacco, things of that nature, hazardous materials or items, anything that may look like a weapon or be an actual weapon, and any medical supplies or equipment. And again, if anything becomes questionable, or you can always speak to Jessica, who's your advisor, regarding approval or exceptions for those types of things. Next slide, please. Limitations, this is a big issue. We do not reimburse cash payments to individuals, and we do not reimburse cash out or anything like that. We also do not do wire transfers to vendors, and we do not have any kind of credit card, unfortunately, to use for any kind of deposits. So we do have a cash advance in lieu of votes if that is required. Thank you. So there are required signatures for your requisition submissions. If you are a member of a cabinet position, we have a matrix here. You would have two of the other officers in your cabinet sign for you. So basically that's for these guys here. If you guys are council reps, you will sign your rec upon submission. It then will go to the director of finance and or GSA president, Madam Naomi here. And that's it for that. And that gets, like I said, that all gets taken care of through DocuSign this year. It's a new process that we're rolling out, which should make everything a lot more streamlined and a lot less headache for you guys. Next slide, please. So these are our very, very hard deadlines for this year. We have given a lot of grace, and things have been extended, and exceptions have been made. And it really is not great for anyone all the way around in the end. So the point of us going through these types of presentations and making these new processes is to eliminate the need for that and the need for exceptions. So January 9th for fall, April 3rd for winter, June 5th for spring, 17th for any commencement related expenses, and the form will be closed, not be available at 11:59. June 18th of 26. A copy of this will also be made available to you upon request. So if you need to go over these for reference, we'll have that. Next slide, please. We also now have implemented the ability for you guys to request cancellation and reissue of checks via the GSA website. So it'll be a button on the same row that you find the requisitions. If check payment does not make it to a vendor that was mailed, or if it's unable to be deposited because it's expired, you're able to request through that form. You fill out the information that you have. Any information that you don't know, we're able to populate on your behalf. Again, processing time, 7 to 10 business days, fluid card required with your submission, as well as
I think that might
is
be
that
it.
it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll open it up to any questions you might have. I know I went pretty fast with that, so yeah. It does not affect, so all the money that is budgeted for you guys is through the fees that you pay at the beginning of every quarter. So those are not affected by any financial problems with the university. You guys okay? I'm here. I'm on, and yes, please. These deadlines.
Repeat the question because they can't hear on Zoom, but, and then, yeah, it'll be.
So the question was, do deadlines apply to submissions, or do they apply to obtaining signatures from the appropriate signatory? So the purpose of the DocuSign submission is so that that's no longer your responsibility. So all you have to do is submit by the deadline, and then it's considered on time. Yeah. Your budget is for the year, so usually expenses will be related to an event that's happening in a quarter. There are times why I do understand that you buy equipment or you're requesting a cash advance for things like furniture for an office for an event. Those types of expenses, again, it's a case by case thing. Those deadlines so that we know when we're moving from period to period. Anyone else?
Do you want to ask if there are any questions on Zoom?
For those on Zoom, are there any questions for our presenter today?
Unless there are none, we can. Again, we are on the third floor of Kirkhoff, room 332. 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. We may have extended hours for check pickup that extend past 5 o'clock. We will send notice once that information is available. Yes.
I'll just make,
Yeah.
sorry. Thank you. Okay, I just want to make one more note. We definitely, for folks that are returning to GSA. Oh yeah, round of applause for you. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
I will just say, for folks, we definitely heard y'all last year about the changes of like it being slow to get a signature from finance director to other complaints that came out. So we definitely tried to incorporate a lot of information on the website to now be updated to reflect a lot of those changes. The team has been hard at work in trying to get this DocuSign so that now we don't have to wait to email to the finance director or you don't know who to email to get the signature. So it's going to be automatically sent now. So we definitely just try to make those changes so that it's a faster and more streamlined process. If you do run into anything, please email us. Don't wait to like see that, oh my, it's not working. I didn't get my money yet. Please let us know. We want to be able to help you all get your refund so that you can plan events, so you could do things for your constituents as well. But yeah, if you ever run into things, we're here. Like we said, we're on the third floor of Kirkhoff. Our email is just one click away. But yeah, really appreciate y'all.
Many thank you to Josh for the presentation. With that, we will go ahead and move on to another special presentation by Jonathan Weisner on Robert's rules.
So, yes, I hope you all are doing well. Let's just give you a brief overview of the order today. But just to start, who I am, my name is Jonathan. I am the Student Government Support Manager at UCLA. I'm primary consultant for USAC, our undergrad student government, but also support GSA. Yeah. And yeah, I'm a member of the National Association of Parliamentarians. So that three procedure questions. But yeah, so today, just a little bit on what rules is, meeting motions and procedures, debate, abstentions, executive session, speech. So what is this whole thing? So Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. It's the gold standard of parliamentary procedure globally. There are multiple volumes and it is a very history. But basically it just provides organizational structure for meetings specifically to help run efficient, fair meetings. And really helps ensure that the usability is heard. Yeah.
It's hard on Zoom to hear you. I think it's interference with that mic. But then this has to be off.
This has to be on. Sorry, bear with us for a moment. Yeah.
Can you use this mic? Yeah. Sorry.
You can keep on talking. Okay. Okay, how about now? Better?
Yeah.
Yay. A long, old book, it's been updated many times. That is really to help provide structure and efficiency. So There's four key principles again. The majority rule, so the idea
Going in and out. I'm sorry.
I love that we have some necessities. I'm sure it's good.
It's gonna be this. So I can make it either the owl or the first microphone. This one, same as system? Okay. Differently than it was before.
Should the speaker be the last one instead?
And the microphone array is that's my machine.
Yeah.
They think it may be too close to your mouth, like how you.
Okay, how about this? Is that better? Or worse? Or better? Or worse?
It's good on my end. Like I can hear.
Okay.
Zoom, can you let me know? Try speaking.
Guys, you can hear me. I'd love to talk to you about treat procedure.
They said hard to hear.
Well, this presentation was included in the meeting notes. Yeah. Yeah, you want me to just continue?
Well, actually,
Let me try. I could should I try
if
the owl?
this, we can just do Jay's laptop, and then you just sit here for a second as well. Let's try that.
So the microphone's gonna be this, my machine. So
We're at Salad. Okay.
Hello, Zoom people. Can you hear me now? Better?
Look at me.
Yes? Good? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so Robert's rules, key principles, Robert's rules. So majority rule, every person has one vote and the majority should take a rule. But also protecting minority rights, so everyone having the opportunity to express their opinions and for those opportunities to be presented in a fair manner. And then providing order, so things like clear rules and having those specific terms and rules for making sure that everything is fair and fairness. All members treated are equally. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna like again, this will be in your meeting notes for your help for words for your review. And I also have some cheat sheets that I'll pass around after for the folks that are here in person for some of the simple ones. But in general, there's a lot of ways to make a motion. There's a lot of different types of motions. The main ones you may hear of are like privilege, subsidiary, or main motion. For the most part, you don't need to worry yourself with that. You really just need to know how to make a motion and when a motion is necessary. So generally, anytime you're going to make a motion, you're going to start with the words "I move" or "motion to," and that's really just how you create actions within your body. So you already did this once today with your agendas, a motion to approve your agenda. Most motions require a second. And most motions are debatable or need a vote. So basically, the TLDR here is know how to start a motion. And then from there, motions can be really creative. So, really it is if you wanted to extend debate by 2 minutes for two additional people, you can be as specific as you want to get whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish done. Yeah, and then in general, as you've seen today, meetings start with kind of that call to order, followed by that approval of the agenda and any previous meeting minutes, and then following in order as we've done today. So just a little bit on debate. So things like point of order and appeals. So in the times that you are, discussing maybe say your carryover funds or a resolution or whatever it may be, if someone in the body feels that either they're being treated unfairly, Robert's rules have been violated in some way, they can raise that as a point of order to the chair. The chair gets to make a decision on whether they agree with that point of order or not. And if the person still isn't satisfied, they can appeal that then to the entire body. So again, this goes back to that principle of fairness, trying to make sure that you have an opportunity to be heard and to be heard fairly, and that you have multiple ways for that majority rule to come into play as well. In general, when you are speaking in the meeting, you need to be recognized by the presiding officer, which here is Jay. So usually that's done by like a raise of a hand or something of the sort, and Jay will officially recognize you. The main point of that, I know that can seem silly at times, so like have to like raise your hand as a grad student, but it's really so that we make sure one person is speaking at a time. And again, it goes back to that portion of fairness of making sure that everyone has the ability to be heard in this space. And then voting procedures, as you saw today, we did a vote by a show of hands, but that can also vary depending on kind of what you're voting on. Sometimes with sensitive matters, maybe you all will vote on a ballot. But again, that really just kind of depends on preference. And that's really going to also come down to the presiding officer, who will also then keep track of the record of the vote, and making sure that those get recorded for your minutes. Most of the time, a majority vote is going to be required for any motion to pass, except where in your constitution or your codes say otherwise. So there are some things that may require a 2/3 vote to pass or a 3/4 vote to pass, something of that sort. But for the most part, majority vote is required. Okay, so when you vote, you're all familiar with voting yes or no, but there is a third option here, and that's called abstaining. So abstentions are an important way for you to, again, treat a motion, to vote when you have the correct information on a motion. So what is abstaining? It's choosing to not vote essentially on a particular motion. And its main reason is for you to avoid conflicts of interest. So when we say conflicts of interest here, we mainly mean financial or personal. So if what we're voting on could directly benefit you or your council financially, that may be a conflict of interest. Same for if you, say you're appointing someone who's receiving a stipend and that person pays for your rent. That is a conflict of interest because them receiving that stipend and that role directly benefits you as an individual, right? So conflicts of interest are really the biggest portion for abstentions, but it can also be used when you truly don't have enough information to vote. This doesn't just mean that like you don't know how you want to vote, but it means that truly enough information wasn't presented for you to retain a vote either way. They're not counted for or against the motion. They're just they're recorded as you were here and you chose actively to abstain. So abstaining and not voting are different. Abstaining is that deliberate choice to not cast a yes or no vote, whereas not voting would be if you weren't here, you went to the bathroom and you missed the vote, whatever that may be. But really, the thing I want to drive home here is that your vote is your council's and your students' voice. So you really should always try to retain that vote in any chance that you can. Even if you're going to be the singular person to vote no on a motion, that to me is powerful and is better than abstaining because you don't want to, be the lone wolf, right? So retain your vote, retain your voice. It's important for your constituents that you do so. What is an executive session? So an executive session is a closed door meeting of the body. So in this case, it'd be something that would be put on the agenda. We would require a motion to enter executive session, and only the people that are a part of forum, the voting members and your advisors, would be allowed to stay in the room. Everyone else would need to leave the room, and the Zoom and the live stream would be closed down. So these are for things where There personnel matters. So, say you have an appointment that you're not satisfied with their performance and you want to do a hearing on their performance. That's something you would want to do in executive session because that's a personnel matter that really isn't for the public. Sensitive legal matters, and then sometimes financial sensitive information can be appropriate for executive session as well. There is a line that you kind of have to toe and draw with executive sessions because they are close to the public and you all are a public body that receives, funds directly from your constituents. So they're not meant to hide information or to avoid transparency. Any actions that are taken within an executive session have to be reported when you leave the executive session. So in the example of that personnel matter, if you did decide to remove then that appointee, you would need to say that on the public record after you returned. Um, but yeah, they're a great tool for protecting the larger interests of the body and of the individuals here. And then lastly, I'll talk just a little bit about protected speech. You are here again in a public setting, so you may experience speech that you disagree with. You may experience speech that you think is wrong, or the complete opposite. You may experience speech that really feels empowering to you. But everyone here has that right to political speech. California courts have consistently upheld the protection of political speech even when it's controversial or unpopular. So you are allowed to say those things. And even hate speech is generally protected, but it loses that protection when it incites violence or constitutes a direct threat. So you could have a member of your constituency come in here and say some really awful things to you, and that may be protected. That may still be their right in a public meeting. But you don't have the right to defame anyone, making false statements, things of that sort. And you don't have the right to incite any violence. Lastly here, this goes just in general for your campus time and activities. Some forms of expression and speech may be regulated by time, place, and manner policies that are set by the university or local regulations. We do have a brand new official time, place, and manner set of policies that just went live a couple weeks ago. I highly recommend that you visit tpm.ucla.edu to learn more, as it does restrict and regulate some activities here on campus. And that's majorly what I got. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer now. Otherwise, if you need me, I am on the third floor of Kirkhoff, also right next door to Josh. So if you're ever in Kirkhoff in the second floor study lounge, and you go up those wooden stairs, that's where we're at. Yeah. Yeah. So the question was why voting isn't anonymous. And voting can be anonymous. So if you were to decide to vote by ballot, say on a sensitive issue, those could be anonymous, right? You could pass out physical ballots, right, that don't have names on them. But generally, because you're a public body that's funded by your constituency, the idea is that they have a right to know how you're voting. So similar to how you can look up the congressional record of your direct representative, it's similar to how that is here. I will say for your purposes, however, what actually gets recorded in your minutes is the vote numbers. So the numbers for, against, and abstaining. We're not putting in your minutes the individual person's votes, right? People could figure that out by watching the live stream, or maybe reviewing the minutes for context clues or things of that sort. But 9 times out of 10, we're not taking a roll call vote of each individual person and noting those votes.
No Excel sheet.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, you're just raising your hand. Yeah,
That's fine.
I'm done.
Yeah, it really comes down to I can say, like, for example, in USAC, there have been a couple times on some where there's been concerns that the voting on something would lead to personal doxing of council members or like put them in like potential like actual harm. There have been times there where they then do a ballot vote so that they can at least claim some sort of anonymity to try and protect themselves. Yeah. Yeah, Jake.
If there were like a sensitive topic brought up, can anyone, like any delegate, make a motion to make the vote anonymous, or how does that procedure work?
Yes, that's a great question. The question was, if there's something sensitive that you're discussing, could any delegate make a motion to vote by ballot? And the answer is yes. Motions, again, the big part of Robert's rules is that democratic process is that motions will always be made for the most part by the delegates, and they are open for creative interpretation to the way that you can pretty much motion whatever it is within your bounds of authority to try and get done. So yes, any member, any delegate, could bring a motion to the forum of let's vote on this by ballot. You could discuss that and then vote on it. And depending on the vote of that, that would then determine whether you vote by ballot or not. And that goes for a range of other things here too. Anything else?
Any questions for those on Zoom?
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for your time and attention. Again, let me know if you ever need anything on the third floor. Thank you.
So
Typically, you don't need it.
I guess I don't, yeah. I guess it's for everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
Many thanks to Jonathan for the presentation. We will definitely be relying on you as a resource as we continue through our proceedings. Okay, now we will return back to the agenda. Okay, so now with that, we will move on to the next section of the agenda, which is the appointments. So if you click on the link there, it'll be a list of all the appointments that have been made over the summer, appointing people to various director and committee positions under each of the cabinet members. And so with that, we would need a motion, right, to vote on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to just click on it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let me go ahead and
And
open it for you.
And then one thing I will note on here is like we still have many appointments remaining. So if your folks are interested, feel free. You can share this link. It's also on our website. The application link is at the top. And so if anybody's interested in serving on any of these committees, we're looking for folks involved in sustainability, health, other things, technology related as well. So it definitely would be a great push if y'all could also talk to your people, so we can try and fill some of these positions very soon. And yeah, and so we won't vote individually because that will take us a while because there's like 30 plus people on here. We'll just do one big vote, and then going forward after this meeting, any new appointments we will have to vote in like a lump sum, right?
Yeah. And then I just wanted to make a clarification. You'll see that there's a consent or voting column. I just wanted to know if there was a difference. Right
No,
here.
no.
No? Okay, then that's fine. So yeah, we will vote on the appointments that are listed currently on this document, and then we will continue to vote as appointments are made in future forum meetings. So with that, we will need a motion to vote on the appointments that are listed in this document, and then a second as well.
The appointments.
To vote on to vote on approving the appointments. Okay, great. Do we have a second?
I have a question. Can we vote on it since it isn't on our agenda?
It is on the.
It is on the agenda. If you look at section 6, or sorry, 7, it's
Oh,
under
okay.
the special presentations.
Okay, thank you.
With that, is there a second to vote on the appointments? To approve. Second? Okay. All right. All those in favor, in person and on Zoom, please raise your hand. Okay. All right, hands down. Thank you. All right, those against, please raise your hand. Okay. And then those that are abstaining, please raise your hand. Okay. All right, the appointments, or the motion passes and the appointments are approved. Okay, so now with that, we will go ahead and move on to the next section of the agenda, which is officer reports. We will begin with having the administrative representatives share if they have anything to share with the councils. Yes, yeah. Yes, yes, yeah. I'll yield my seat to you.
Okay, can everybody on Zoom hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Jessica Alexander, she, her. I'm the division manager for student government and student union program. One of your administrative representatives from ASUCLA. My office is here in Ackerman on A level. So if y'all ever need to stop by, I have business cards. If I haven't handed you one here, I have them for you on Zoom. I'll type my info into the chat. But just want to say welcome. My role here will be supporting you all during your forum meetings. So if you ever have any questions on parliamentary procedure, operations of GSA, your codes, your constitution, happy to chime in and help. And I also oversee student government accounting, so I know a lot about your budget. So if you have questions about accessing your council funds, let's definitely meet and chat. And we'll be presenting next week just the overall budget for you all so you know how much you have to spend for your councils. And then when apportionment comes up later this quarter, I'll be presenting that to you all. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'm always available to chat or set up a Zoom or if you have council meetings, I'm happy to come to your council meetings. We'll also be reaching out this year to set up some individual meetings to meet and greet you all and get to know your students. We also are super lucky this year to have a grad student fellow working with us in student government services. So her name's Elise. She was here for a few minutes but had to step out to class. But she's going to also be helping us this year just with operations for GSA and for forums. So you'll probably hear from her at some point to just, extend an outreach, make that connection. But please, if you have any questions, let me know. I think that's pretty much it. Just kind of wanted to say hello, but yeah, good to see you all. Welcome back. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
My notes. I re-yield to Pamela.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey.
Hello, my name is Pamela Lewis, she, her, and I am the director of the student union within ASUCLA. So Jessica Alexander and her team are under my leadership umbrella, and so we will be working very closely this year with everything. But the biggest thing for me is to really connect more with our graduate and professional students. So my office is also where Jessica's is. So if you ever need to reach out to me, I am available. I will make sure you have our contact information, but I'm looking forward to a great year with our graduate population. So thank you.
And I would like to offer my many thanks to both Jessica and Pamela for their help, especially over the summer trying to get things set up for this year. Yes, they are a wonderful resource, and please feel free to reach out to them for questions that you may have as the year goes on. Okay, so we will go ahead and continue. We will have the report from the president, Naomi Hammonds, and then we will continue with the other VP reports.
Oh, you can sit there. Oh, they can go. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Naomi Hammonds. You're good. And so just a little bit about me, second year Master of Public Health student, will serve as your president for this academic year. I really appreciate you all for taking the time to join us at our forum meeting. We've definitely made some changes to the website. We're going to be having bi-weekly forum meetings. I hope this is all just to make sure that we are more sound and doing our jobs, right? And making sure that we're able to represent students at the end of the day. So if you do go onto this report, all of us have linked reports on the agenda. You can see all the things that we've been up to, especially since this summer. I will say for mine, it's a lot of meetings. And so if you have any questions about any of those topics, if it's LA 28, the Olympics, or if it's some of our climate meetings that I've had, feel free to ask me. I'm an open book, but it's part of the transparency of what we're doing in these roles. I will say my team, we're meeting tomorrow to kind of set our fall calendar of what we want to do for this with events wise of what we're trying to plan. We had our first grad bar event, part of the orientation. We had over 700 graduate students there. So it was really amazing. But definitely want to connect with each and every one of you. Part of my office, what we've been talking about with my directors is we want to host an event, a collaboration with each department and each school. And we want to bring y'all together to connect. And that's part of why we want to have a lot of this meeting in person to make those connections. But Zoom people, I will be reaching out to you. So best believe you'll see me around. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. So always, again, reach out if you have any questions. I'm here to support y'all and do this thing that we call student government. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, President Hammonds. We'll go ahead and continue with my report, the Vice President of Internal Affairs. If you will allow me to indulge, I'm going to actually open some of the report because there are some talking points related to GSA formal logistics that I would like to introduce to you. So if you'll wait one moment for me. Okay, great. So yeah, for this meeting, I wanted to briefly talk about the council delegate information. As you have noticed, I've tried to reach out to the various councils within GSA and trying to obtain delegate information. This is still an ongoing process, and so I am still missing maybe a few representatives from different councils. I do have a document linked here that contains the most up-to-date information on each of the council's delegates for the 25-26 academic year. So please email me if I made mistakes while compiling the document. If like an email needs to be revised or if there has been a change in the actual delegates that are being sent, please let me know. There's also a form that I've created to submit delegate information, and that helps me just kind of put everything in one place and then put things onto the document. And that document will be used for reference with our administrative representatives. So I do want to talk about how councils should have the same number of alternate delegates as primary delegates, just to ensure that full attendance is by each council. And I'll talk more about council attendance in a little bit, but one of the goals that I have for us throughout this academic year is to create council-specific email addresses so that we can ensure smoother communication and transitions for future years. So instead of me trying to look for people, trying to email people that have already graduated, people that may not use their email in that way for GSA Forum, that one email will be kind of the landing point for us to send out information about forum agendas, minutes, etc. And then that way you guys will also have one concentrated place, so we're not sending emails and attachments everywhere. Oh, we did? Oh, we had them made. Okay, great. Well,
We'll be getting them soon.
yes. Okay, you'll be getting them soon. If you have any questions, we also have a webmaster that will help with some of the technical logistics. So please, don't be afraid to reach out and ask. I also wanted to talk about some proposed revisions to the GSA codes. I have linked to the current version, which I believe the last revision made was in 2020. Yeah. So there's a lot of missing information. There's a lot of updates that needed to be made and things that needed to be more clearly defined. So we, over the summer, had a consultant peruse and look over our codes and constitutions to ensure that there is consistency between both documents. I have not yet received any updates on that, but once we receive those recommended revisions, that will be my job to kind of make sure things are written and in place for us to vote on those changes. I will say voting on the Constitution, I will probably hold off till the next general election because any constitutional changes need to be made by the general student body, not just the GSA Forum. I will very briefly talk about the summary about just some changes I made to the various sections. A lot of them are like indentation things, but others are introducing, the Student Interest Board as an organization that exists within the GSA Forum. Another section is adding language to describe the procedure for us as a forum to amend the GSA codes. Other sections was just like a misnumbering sort of situation that we ran into. And then language for clarifying council attendance, which, we can have as many delegates as we need to meet quorum, but for a council to be considered in attendance, you need to have at least the minimum number of delegates present in order to be considered present. If you have 3 delegates in your council and only 2 show up, your council will still be considered absent. And then there will be, an outlining of sort of consequences that happen when councils do not meet the 75% attendance requirement per quarter, and those will be defined in the proposed changes to the codes as well. I've also proposed adding a section for defining how we create new councils if we need to, if that's something that the GSA forum deems relevant. And then other sections that I've touched on are just talking about how agenda items are submitted for consideration, just kind of clarifying items there. And then changing language, outlining the frequency of our forum meetings because we will be having them every 2 weeks instead of every 3, and it will always be on the odd weeks. So 1, 3, 5, 7, not 9 this quarter because of Thanksgiving, but 9 in the other quarters. And then another section just talks about the Student Interest Board, the scope of groups that can qualify to be part of that organization, and then procedures for adding new member orgs to that Student Interest Board. And then the last major change that I wanted to propose was just language to clarify certifying election results and then consequences for councils that fail to be present when the results need to be certified. That was an issue that we ran into during the spring quarter. And then last thing I wanted to briefly talk about logistically is submitting a GSA agenda items. So only a council delegate can put items on the forum agenda, but any GSA member, any fee-paying full registered graduate student or professional student can submit an agenda item for consideration if they submit according to the deadlines and requirements established by the GSA codes, especially with the revisions that will be made. There will be a form which I will try to make sure shows up on the GSA website soon to submit that item and then any supporting documentation with those agenda items. The most important thing is for any agenda item to be considered, it will require the approval of at least 2 GSA council delegates. So they can't just submit and expect the agenda item to be approved. They need to reach out to their councils or maybe other councils if it seems relevant. And that's kind of the procedure that we're trying to get through just to make sure that we're being as productive as possible during these GSA forums for our constituents. And with that, I end my report, and I will go ahead and yield to the next section, which is going to be VP of Academic Affairs, so Satara.
I'm Satara, so I'm currently a master's student in the statistics department, and I'm going to be serving as vice president of academic affairs. My report is like extremely short, but just because many of the academic committees haven't started yet. So once I get those committees started and all the appointments do attend those committee meetings, then I can get reports for them and share those to the forum. So first thing is just the academic senate appointments, which we just approved earlier. Basically the same thing as the master doc, but just sharing the spreadsheet. And this is just all the appointments that we have filled. There are 4 left in the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. There's 1 in Faculty Welfare, and there's 3 in Legislative Assembly still open. So if you do know anyone who is interested in serving those appointments, please send them my way and I can give them more information as well, such as meeting times, etc. And another thing to note was that there was a special LGA meeting that happened this past Tuesday on September 30th. And just to give like a quick summary of what happened, just because they had mentioned not sharing much of the information outside of the meeting, just a very small summary of that is that they did want to go over the state of shared governance occurring with faculty throughout campus. And so faculty just shared their thoughts on the state of shared governance. So overall, the overall sentiment was negative, and they are not happy with the state of shared governance, and they do want changes. And that was the main thing that they went over. It was just different faculty giving their opinions throughout the whole meeting. And that's pretty much all that my agenda or my report has. And I'll be giving more updates once all of the academic senate committees do start in later in October.
Slide.
And then
Okay.
passing that over
Oh,
to,
question.
oh, yes. Based off how they were describing it, essentially just receiving information from the EVCP Hunt and essentially just mentioning that they were unhappy with how he was sharing information. And essentially the main thing was that he hadn't shared information with any updates that he was making overall in terms of like funding reports or the like IT, like centralized IT, and just saying that they weren't being given information in the academic senate committees and that they'd like to be more informed before just being sent like an email like, oh, this is the update, this is what's happening, and not really receiving a plan in place of how that's going to be implemented. So more just unhappy with not receiving information like in a timely manner. And then they had also mentioned that they had sent letters, but they had not been receiving responses. And then I concur to the VP of External Affairs, Jack.
Hello. So big. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jack Fen, and I'm a third-year PhD student in epidemiology department at UCLA Fielding School of Public Health. So I am truly privileged, honored, and feeling very excited about this position, the external vice president. So 4 months into the job, so the way I think about this position is really to build coalition for a lot of issues that impact our students. So I work closely with UC GPC, which is University of California Graduate and Professional Council, and serving as a voting board member, a board director member on the council, and also serving several committees and chair the International Immigrant Undocumented Student Protection Committee, and also work closely with UC Office of President. And UC Board of Regents, and really trying to build that coalition with undergraduate and graduate student body to elevate our student voices and concerns to the stakeholders. And beyond UCLA campus, I also am very present and active in local community relation building as well. A few examples that I've been working on since this summer. Started this job is to support the Superb Transit Corridor project, which is a public transit that is currently under review that will connect the valley to the west side of LA. But the central part of my work is really to designing and executing the target advocacy strategy in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C., really to trying to build that coalitions to influence legislation and policy and secure resources for our students and expand access to opportunities for our students as well. I'm not going to go through the whole list of things I've been working on, but it's categorized by areas of interest. I mean, this summer we began with the federal suspension of UCLA research funding. So I got put into that very quickly, and I worked very closely with UCGPC and the undergraduate counterpart to co-lead a joint letter to the UC president and UCLA chancellor, really to urging them to stand up for our students and protect our funding and resources as well. And in the meantime, also, I have been able to support the UCLA advocacy social media campaigns, hashtag Research Powers Progress,
hashtag Stand Up for UC, which is the UC campaign as well, to highlighting a lot of the ongoing UCLA research projects that our students are doing. And on policy advocacy and student protections, like I said, the central key part of this role is really to support legislations or oppose legislations. Currently we're still in the 2025 state legislative session. The governor, has recently passed dozens of bills, and two of them actually is on this list that I'm voicing our support through my office. And the governor has October 13th, the deadline to veto or sign the rest of the bills. So, make sure you tell your students to contact the governor. If your students need some template for contacting the governor and messaging the support, let me know. And yeah, and also like we also have to recognizing the ongoing fear and and anxiety a lot of immigrant, undocumented, and international students are facing, since January this year. So that's one of the bills that has recently passed in the state legislature, called the SAFE Act. So right now we're waiting for UCLA administration, the UC system to implement it, which would require the university college campuses to notify the students, faculty, and staff when ICE activities are on campus. And there are also a few things that are happening at the federal level as well. So there was a federally proposed rule to end the so-called duration of status for international students. So I was able to voice the opposition to that rule in order to protect international students' rights, security, and stability, and through UCGPC public comment letter addressed to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And then, back in the summer, the HR1, the big quote unquote big beautiful bill, with dozens of harmful implications on our students' tuition, affordability in higher education, basic needs, etc. I was able to work with UCGPC and UC Student Association, our undergraduate counterpart at the UC system, to voice our opposition, and also able to mobilize our students to contact their representatives. And also I was recently attended the UC Regents meeting in September, giving my remark on this federal suspension and the implication on our student, etc. So on the area of student opportunity and empowerment, back in early June, I was able to host a campus-wide for LGBTQ plus and allied graduate and professional students, a mixture event with support from GSA, which is a diverse group of coalition. We're able to pool funding support together. And currently, I have created a higher education student advisor council to our representative in this district, in collaboration with our undergraduate EVP office, to try to institutionalize our UCLA student input in congressional policymaking. And yeah, and we also know there's an upcoming special election in November in California, and there's a midterm election coming up. So I've been working closely with my undergraduate counterpart, the EVP office, to circulate educational, nonpartisan educational materials on voting, really trying to raise awareness, helping students register to vote, as well as we're planning to host a town hall later this October on campus. And I recently, have hired my Legislative Affairs Director, Kosi, sitting in the back. Big shout out for a lot of bills that he has been able to draft, for my office, and also bring a student volunteer to work to help with my communication effort as well. And the local visibility, that's also another thing I was mentioning early, really trying to be present and engage in local communities and amplify our students' presence and highlight our students' contribution to the region as well. So that could, that goes up from the West Hollywood to LA Pride events to West Hollywood Civil Leadership Academy and the Supervital Transit Corridor and other things. And we are also planning to host a press conference on campus in October for Supervital Transit Corridor. So really trying to urge the Metro Board to select a real alternative that will benefit our students and the local community. And for communicating with students, I've been utilizing utilizing several communication channels with students to really trying to gather input, feedback, concerns in a way that will inform my agenda and position, and also support my preparation for a regular meeting with stakeholders. And I'll always release regular EVP public statements as well, both proactive and reactive, giving everything that's been happening. So for anyone who has any questions regarding any items I presented on my report, let me know. I can answer them now and or I can address them afterwards. And I have my contact information on the report letter header. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Right. Many thanks to my fellow cabinet members and for the work that they've been doing over the summer and the work that they will do throughout this academic year. Yeah, so with that, we'll move on to the next section, which is old business, but we have no old business. So with that, we move on to the next section, which is new business, and we have no new business. So with that, we will need a motion to adjourn from one of the delegates. Motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, the motion is seconded. Those in favor to adjourn. All right. Lower your hands, please. Those against. Okay, none. Then let's, those that abstain, please raise your hand. Okay, then with that, the meeting is adjourned. We will go ahead and just conclude this meeting and thank you all for coming out. I look forward to seeing you all at the next forum meetings, hopefully in person. If not, in Zoom is great. On Zoom is great as well. And yeah, so this final section, good and welfare, is just get to know each other. Go say hi to another delegate that you haven't met, and say something good that happened this week. So thank you all. Thank you all. Have a great night. Good.
Bye, Zoom people.
Thank you. Thank you all. Y'all have a great night.